Don't try and pretend like you have a read on the cards, or a system, or an eye for patterns. These are just excuses to justify gambling. Believing the other player screwed up the hand. No, they didn't. The only weapon a blackjack player has at his or her disposal is to use a system of counting to know which cards have come out of the chute, and thus which cards have a higher probability of coming out next. Once the river is dealt and the remaining players' cards are turned over, and whoever has the best 5-card combination of the 7 cards wins the pot. If identical hands are turned over, the pot is split. Each player starts with 2 cards face down and a third face up, the whole cards and the door card. The stage was set. 30 years would pass before the true birth of card counting. But in those 30 years, surely there were players who thought about the game and how to play it best. Many of them are referenced by those who came after them and explored the facets of the game after them. There was Jess Markham, kicked out by many a beaten and confused casino who may have been beating blackjack by counting cards before 1950. There were colorful characters with names like System Smitty and Greasy John. 4 players Baldwin, Canty, Maisel, McDermott wrote a 1957 book Playing Blackjack to Win with explicit reference to a basic strategy and to keeping track of cards as a way to tilt the game in your favor. But this book did not quite capture the attention of the casinos or the public the way that Beat the Dealer did in 1962. The conditions needed to beat blackjack with card counting. Rules that give the casino a small enough house edge that card counting can be effective. If the blackjack rules are too crummy, then card counting won't be enough to beat the game. Things like blackjack's pay 6, 5, or no doubling after splits tend to be too much for card counting to overcome. All the best online gambling sites greet you with a welcome package when you first join them and provide regular promotions as you keep playing. New casinos allow you to benefit from welcome bonuses. Many of the offers listed on our site are exclusive and won't be found anywhere else. 7 years later, in 2016, Ethereum, the second most popular crypto, was born. But what the Americans lacked in accurate naming skills, it seems they made up for in 2 new game rules which paved the way toward the game becoming beatable. Never before in any of the European versions were you allowed to see the dealer's upcard before you made your playing decisions. Also, whereas dealers had previously made their own decisions on whether to hit or stand, they now began to follow a mandatory pattern established by the house of hitting on a 16 and standing on a 17.